Hi everybody, how's it going? I'm Crystal, I'm in Livingston, Montana, and Richie asked me to go live with my story. So, let me know, Richie, if it's a watch thing or what's going on. So, just not really sure how to, yeah. I live in Montana, and, thinking, let me know if you guys can see this, wave, so, can everybody see me? Not sure how this is going. Okay. Okay, there we go. Hopefully it can add more and everybody kind of can see me. I know I have bed hair. It's funny. Okay, thank you, Richie. It's working. Okay, let's see if we can get a couple more people in. I don't have to So, I'm Crystal. I'm an addict, recovering one. So, this is a lovely view of mountains in Montana. This is my sanctuary. This is my higher power when I go and talk to her. So, you got the river, you got a lot of serenity here. And this is where I go and pray a lot. This is where I center myself. So when I'm stressed, I come here to talk to my higher power and kind of balance myself. Whereas in addiction, you don't really care about all that. My addiction started when I was 7, and probably a little earlier than that. And I just, all right. Hey, did you make it a watch thing, Richie? So, trying to see if we can get more people on here. And, see, Fergie. Okay, it's working. All right, yeah. Okay, Richie. So I started when I was 7 years old. But my story actually started way before I was born. And you're probably wondering, how the hell does that happen? Generations of addicts. You know, in my biological family, my maternal grandparents, my grandpa was a heroin and meth addict. My grandmother was an alcoholic. They had my birth mom, and she became addicted to meth as well at a very young age. She was put in foster care. And so she started drugs probably at a very young age, probably maybe around 12, 13, or by the time she was put in foster care due to neglect. So she was in treatment and all that, and then she was sexually assaulted. She was raped by my birth father. Drugs, they were both into drugs, so I'm a product of rape. So you had all that trauma, and it went on from there. So me being a product of rape caused a lot of trauma and pain and whatnot. So my birth mom being an addict, addicts don't care about anything but themselves, especially when they're in active addiction. So my birth mom could not handle a baby. And the anger, the resentment she felt towards me, which is totally understandable, just grew. And so I was adopted when I was 2 years old into an adopted family. Well, things were all right, but we had to move to a different neighborhood. Come to find out, I had a brother who was sexually abusing the next door neighbor's kid. So we moved. But I wasn't told that till later on. And then the abuse started happening from my brother Luke. He started sexually assaulting me and our other brother, and many people in our church congregation. He then went to the pastor of our church, and this was like around when I was 7 years old, so he would be like 9 or 10. And so our family shattered. So I was put in a state foster home. Me and my brother David were. It we were all separate, and I was freaking out. A traumatized girl doesn't know what's going on. Um, and then about a month later, we were brought back to the home. Well, the beatings kept continuing. The sexual abuse stopped. Then we had the physical. And I started, drinking my dad's alcohol because it made him strong. And I also learned self-mutilation. Like, I would slide on asphalt and shred my entire leg just because that pain was better than what I was feeling. So you got alcohol, you got self-mutilation, you got like a predisposition of addiction. And my adopted mother, she knew all the stuff that was going on. And she was wanting me to kill myself. Like, I know you're like, who the hell would want to do that? A narcissist. And my adopted mom would stand there and smile while I got beaten. She knew my brother Luke was sexually abusing me, but didn't do anything about it. So that made my addiction even more. I don't want to deal with the rejection of a mother. So it just kind of spiraled. And I was jumped off roofs at school. I was fighting. It just got progressively worse and worse. Again, the physical abuse continued. And they didn't know a whole lot about mental illness addiction, so I don't blame them. But when you have toxic family members who, continue to hurt and ask, like, why would somebody do that? Because not everyone's healthy and normal. I mean, like, who would want their child to get hurt? Someone who, my adopted mom she's used to being the center of attention, and when she adopted me, she thought I was going to be like her, and I was definitely not. So she wanted to make sure and she even said she was ashamed of me, and that she didn't want friends or family around her, or around me. So you have the rejection of family, you have the lack of a stable family member. And it sucks. And come to find out, my dad was repeating the same cycle that my grandpa did. My grandpa pulled my grandma by her hair up and downstairs, beat her every time she showed any outspokenness or independence, which is what I very much am. So, he was kind of repeating a cycle, and I think he just didn't know how to handle a girl, much less a girl who had issues beforehand. So he did what he knew. And that was using his fists. It's taught me to defend myself, but it also came with a lot of trauma. And guess what? I didn't want to deal with it. So what do I do to not deal with it? Cause physical pain in me. And I would also, at times, antagonize bullies so I could fight, so I could get that physical out. So yeah, I would burn myself, cut myself, I'd break bones, jump off roofs. It got to the point where I was expelled from one school, my junior high, after a month of it starting. And I jumped off the roof in front of the entire student faculty staff. So I was expelled from that school, and that's when they really realized something is really wrong with this kid. Yeah, you think? Again, I don't blame them because they didn't know a whole lot. So you get that I'm both a product of and survivor of rape. So then I'm taken from a home, and I've been with this all going on, there's a lot of hospitalizations, a lot of psychiatric stuff, trying to figure out what the hell's making me go off the deep end. So, again, hindsight, so I was put in treatment, and God, I was immature, and I was in a lot of pain, a lot of anger, both I didn't want to deal with. So I did a lot of running away, I did a lot of fighting, I did a lot of just addict behavior, pretty much. And I had a lot of immaturity issues, like high school, teenage years, they're not as easy as it may look. Okay, so I was first in San Anselmo for 2 years in a treatment center there. Then I was transferred to another less restrictive environment treatment center after 2 years of being in San Anselmo. During that time, my treatment, I went backwards. I do 2 steps front, 3 steps back. I didn't just do 3 steps. I did the whole, it was bad. Addiction is powerful, and, you got to be strong. And strength comes in all ways. And so I slid back, and I'm from the state of California, in case you guys, needed to know that. And so, and yes, I was bullied in school. Me and the bullies had, literally everyday fights, because that's how I got my anger out. You'd be angry, too. And I didn't want to deal with it. So I slipped my treatment, the group home, I was running away, and I attempted to jump off a freeway overpass in Vista, California. So then, state of California is like, we can't keep her safe. She needs locked doors. And as me, being in treatment was like a cage. I hate cages. But it was necessary. And I don't blame them. So I ended up going to a treatment center in Billings, Montana. And, at this point, later on, I would find out that my parents were, again, hindering my progression. I had staff tell me, if we had just listened to you and done what you had asked, you would have gotten better faster, but our hands were tied. AKA, my parents wanted me to remain sick. And you're like, who wants to do that? They wanted control. So they took away horses. I mean, it was just, and it got to the point we just stopped therapy because of just how bad it got. And it was just, there was a time I got 6 months probation because I bit a staff for slamming my head in the ground. When they forced medication, said I couldn't run away, I couldn't fight, I had to take my medication. And I'd learned by now the lingo for psychiatrists. And so I made sure I could act out and get enough symptoms going that they would have to medicate me. Addicts were resourceful. We're going to survive somehow. I couldn't get the alcohol, so I'm going to get the pills. So I really didn't do a whole lot in treatment. That was my own error. And again, I was not dealing with wanting pain. So I get out, and then I go from institutionalized and safe to homeless. My parents were my payee, but they didn't want to give me a place to stay. And so talk about culture shock. There was no follow-through. There was no, nothing. It was set up to fail. And as you can tell, that didn't exactly work. So I bounced around, from room to rent places, and just kind of still in active addiction, couple hospitalizations because I cut my wrist too deep, nicked an artery or so, and moved around. And I did some work in the California Conservation Corps in San Luis Obispo, but again, addiction did a lot. So I was not willing to give it up, and I was not willing to get better. And when you don't have that family support and they just keep on, and I started taking my freedom back from them. I made sure they weren't my payees anymore. And guess what? Once they stopped being my payee, they no longer came to visit me or much less cared. And that is screwed up. I became my own payee, and they refused to teach me how to drive. They refused to do a lot of things, and I have my driver's license now. I bought my first car with the cash that I went to college for. I only went to college for a year, or maybe less, here in Billings. And then I had a college classmate commit suicide. And so I stopped going back. My first suicide was actually a counselor of mine. When I was at the treatment center in December of 2004, he shot himself. But they lied to us, which I totally understand. They said he died of a heart attack. In fact, he committed suicide. And I kind of tell people, where I was then, I was like the Walking Dead. I couldn't feel anything. I was just motions, and you could tell my eyes were cloudy, and there wasn't a whole lot there, and you could see my face was. But that fear, we had a lot of girls come back from AWOL who were on meth. And guess who had to sit up at 2 o'clock in the morning to listen to them scream? So I've never touched meth or heroin, but addiction is addiction regardless. It doesn't matter. And so I struggled a lot with relationships, with myself, self-esteem, you name it. And just kind of yo-yo between my adopted parents. And I met my birth mom, and that didn't go exactly well. She's still using meth. There's nothing in her eyes. They're very soulless. There's nothing. And it's kind of a matter of fact at this point. But the best quote I can come up with is, be the change you want seen. When I was 22, I got pregnant with my daughter, Rose. And when I was engaged to a less than desirable person, at that time, who more or less didn't really pay much attention. And then I suffered the worst, and I had a miscarriage. It was a blessing because I was not in a place to bring a child to this world. But talk about rock bottom. Talk about, there would be at times I would black out. and I would come to, and I'd be all bloody, like from my neck all the way down my arms, my legs, everything was cut, bleeding, and I couldn't remember shit. And I had a bottle of alcohol that was empty. I drank like 3 bottles of NyQuil. I mean, it was just, and I did that daily, every freaking day, until I lost my daughter. So I I struggled with employment, and I finally got, after getting jobs and getting fired from them, I finally found a job taking care of other people, which brings out the compassionate side in me. And that required me to not use. But again, addiction's addiction. You get addicted to work and you do it, but you get burnout, so it's called balance. Addicts have to learn in recovery balance. We're pretty intense individuals. We're very passionate. We're dedicated. We were dedicated to our addiction, so we got to be dedicated to recovery or whatever else can fill that void. And around that time, I was doing what we call EMDR therapy. I love it. You should do it, especially those who have PTSD. It works. It's awesome. It rewires the brain from the inside out. And you have to do it every week. You have to be sober. And I've done EMDR hypnotherapy as well, which is a more intense version of it, along with DBT using the 5 senses. And then I moved. I did that for about a year, and then I moved to here, Livingston, Montana. I got fired from one job as a CNA. And then I was driving to work in August 2015. I was heading out to Yellowstone Park to work, and a deer ran out in front of my car, and that was the tipping point. I swerved and I rolled 3 times at 70 miles an hour. Thankfully, I was wearing my seatbelt. Wear your seatbelt, seriously. Hit my head a dozen times, finally came to a stop, and I was screaming for help, but nobody could hear me. That's when I relapsed. You have whiplash on top of trauma, and it just scrambled my brain. Now, meanwhile, I joined the volunteer fire department here, and, kind of did that, and went through some series of jobs, and got another job, caregiving. And then I got a call from the neighboring city police department asking me why my ex-girlfriend, that's another reason why, I used addiction. I was covering up my sexuality, being bisexual. When you're ashamed of something and you're taught in a religious form that it's a sickness, it's a disease, it was like I was trying to get rid of it. And, that's another thing people have to kind of look at is, okay, she's struggling with something that she's afraid she's going to be judged. So, I was hiding sexuality, I was hiding the shame and the rape, I was just a whole bunch of shit I wasn't dealing with. Seriously, didn't want to deal with it. And so then, when I said, when the first thing that came out of my mouth when I was talking to law enforcement was, she committed suicide. Because I just knew. And sadly, I got confirmation that, that following February that yes, they found her body in Vegas or Nevada somewhere. She had committed suicide. And that sucked. And I was just, drinking NyQuil, just trying to get by, just trying to, numb myself because I felt up. I didn't want to deal with emotions. I mean, who wants to deal with those? And I didn't know how to balance. I didn't know how. And I wasn't wanting to. And as an addict, I was like, no, I'll be fine, whatever. And then the town became dark. We had one every week. We had one suicide every week. First 2 were kids, teens. The other 2 were adult men, one being my friend Bill. So that crushed our city. Our whole entire town was hurting something fierce. And Bill Rawson, Bill, he committed suicide. He called it Blue Eyes. Then I got confirmation of my ex's suicide. So, you have all that combined. And then you have trouble at work, stress with coworkers. And I just was not having it. Addicts were pretty numb. I was also pretty angry. And when I would try to, work and I'd have coworkers kind of like, antagonize me, I didn't respond well. I snapped. And I didn't want to hit him or anything, but I would be overly assertive and say, no, we're not doing this. And so being bullied at work can trigger, and it does with me. Um, and then September 2017, actually September 2016, I found my biological father. And you're like, why would you want to find a rapist? Because I didn't know it at the time. Until DNA matched. And guess what? The family split on how they treat me. The cousin that I matched, well, my dad died of lung cancer, February 2017, and her and my uncle won't talk to me because, well, why does it matter? And to them, they told me that my other cousins, my male cousins, were like, oh, they won't matter, it doesn't matter. But when in fact, I actually revealed myself because I don't do the secrets, I don't do the lies anymore. Addicts, we have our secrets, we have our ways, and no one's going to find them out. We'll be damned if they do. So, and I take it really personal when somebody lies to me. Like, seriously, I don't like being lied to. And I don't like being lied about. It's just disrespectful and hurtful, and it's just not right. So, I revealed myself, and again, you got the family rejection. And I finally was trying to cut ties with my adopted mom, and she wasn't getting the hint. Like, don't contact me. She just kept going because that's what narcissists do. You know, they got to make themselves feel better. And she would cause that pain, and a mother's rejection and games really fucks with you. And I got the same reaction from my birth mom. She hated me, but for a legitimate reason. She's the one who tried to kill me twice. So again, you have all this trauma, you have all this, like, crap, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, but at the same time, I wanted to create the chain scene. And people ask, why does the past matter? Because we have to learn from the past and not repeat it, which is what I'm trying to do. But I had to walk the path of addiction to understand it. Welcome to empathy, right? And so that kind of went on, and I lost a job in January 2017, and well, I OD'd on alcohol and NyQuil and slit my wrist and all that. And I did it shortly after my dad died. He died February 1st, 2017. I didn't deal with death well, and you're like, why are you in caregiving? My higher power wanted me to learn to grieve, I guess. And I'm a very compassionate person, despite my scars. And I'm very gentle with my clients. Because I've been through a lot of shit, and I would not want to put another human being through it. It's not in my nature. I can't do that. I know what pain is, and nobody deserves that. So then, fast forward, and then I have my Ford catch fire. I had 2 cars catch fire. Hello, trauma, you're like, Jesus, can't get a break. And then, so, August 2016, I was with my fire department, and it was my first fatality. Double fatality, and guess what? It was a rollover. A year after mine. Yeah, that went over well. I don't respond to rollovers anymore. Because I just know too well, the end result. If I hadn't been wearing my seatbelt, I would have been the same as the 2 victims there. And so you have that. You have to look at somebody who's no longer alive because of poor choices. And it sucks. It really does. And then August 2017, I OD'd one more time. And then I was on my aunt's couch, and she thought I was having a stroke. Well, my birth mom's had 2 strokes before the age of 30, and I was, 30 at that time. And my aunt's not scared of anything. I mean, seriously. So scaring her, that's bad. I mean, and it was called a fugue episode, which is like when you guys like space out, and you come back. It's like that, but it's more severe, and you can't come out of it. It's like the lights are on, but nobody's home. And it's like, and that's the way with people who have PTSD, that's how their brain works. It's way more sensitive to trauma, shuts down way faster, and it mimics a stroke. And it's scary. My speech was slurred. I couldn't move my left side. I mean, my eyes were all glassy. It was scary. My aunt, again, she's not scared of anything, but this freaked her out. And you know what? That's when I said enough is enough. That's when I said enough is enough. And so, And then a month later, after starting therapy, I had to do the most heartbreaking, and I had to do it sober. I had to put my cat Moo down, who I rescued from a owner who chose meth. And I had him for a couple years, and I had to put him down because he was actively dying. And I held him, and I just, bawling your eyes out, being as raw, when you're no longer numb, all the emotions come out sideways. And when you have to put an animal down that you love, that you rescued, because that's the best way for him, it sucks. Seriously, I was dry heaving. I wanted to drink so bad, but I didn't. I wanted to cut myself, but I didn't. But I was just bawling. And I went to my therapist. I went to my aunt. I went to people that I could be just raw and bawling my eyes out. I was a hot mess. I mean, it was just rock bottom. Like, oh my God. And as you've noticed in my life, I've hit a lot of rock bottoms. But I'm still standing. Because as I've been told, I'm pretty resilient. And I am. I'm pretty resilient, very compassionate, and honest. Those are very good assets. But I couldn't do it alone. And I had to surround my people with people who would support me and, help me through this trauma and love me unconditionally, which is something I haven't had. Now, I will tell you, I had some loving people in my family, my grandparents, and I'm a lot like my grandparents, thankfully. Even though my mom is their daughter, you could not be someone more opposite. Seriously. And my grandma always said, you got a voice, use it. You got a problem with someone, tell them. And my adopted mom would try to silence me. So, when people stopped listening to me verbally say stuff, I started using my fists. I had to survive. But I chose a lot of not so great ways to survive. And I'm pretty proud of myself, but I'm humbled. And I gotta stay humble. Addicts gotta stay humble. Don't get cocky. Really bad. Because you'll fall off the wagon faster than anything. And recovery has taught me self-accountability, and so did treatment. Like, yeah, I did that stuff. I'm not proud of it. Instead of living in denial, be honest with yourself. Like, yeah, I fucked up. I was doing this. I was kind of like a freak of all nature. I was immature and damaged. So I've been doing EMDR for about a year and a half. And I'm on medication management. I'm on one medication. Because since I did what I did in treatment, I don't like taking meds. Because I don't want to feel that way. I don't want to go down that road. I want to feel. But feeling emotions and all that is not my forte. But I'm getting better at it. So, I take one day at a time. And I'm learning to listen to my body. Like when I'm tired, take a nap. If I'm hungry, eat. And I battled anorexia growing up as well. So, and I come out to this river. This is my serenity. I have sat in this river to calm down after an EMDR session. And it, like I said, it rewires the brain and heals from the inside out. And in order for that to happen, things have to get worse. Because you actually have to feel all the crap that I was avoiding. And that was a lot. There was one full week that I seriously was like pissed off on steroids because of all that anger, and I didn't deal with it. So that sucked, but I come here to the river and I pray, I meditate. This is my higher power. Hey, look, got a bird going on. So, and I take pictures so I can look back and, find the good. Because despite my less than desirable past, I'm creating a better future. And being the change needed. Just because I come from a family of addicts doesn't mean I need you to continue to do so. And my grandpa and my birth mom were both schizophrenic due to drug use. Both were untreated. And there's a lot of that. So I'm both treating the addiction and the mental illness. But I am not my addiction. I am not my mental illness. So saying I have PTSD is way better than saying I am bipolar. No, you're not. You're more than your, And so you just got to take one day at a time. I know that you're not alone. And there's some people you have to cut out, and it's family sometimes. And that sucks. When my sister Vanessa, we have the same birth mom, started using meth, I walked away. Because she and I knew. And I knew what she was becoming. And I couldn't help her because I'd slipped. And we're both addicts, and now Vanessa is breaking the cycle as well. And I was able to help her recently find her birth father. And sadly, he died 2 years and a day after mine. So Vanessa was literally in my shoes. So I had to help not just my sister, but also a fellow addict. and she did a freaking fantastic job, better than I did it. So we're breaking the cycle. We're creating change in our own families, and we're honest and open about it. And a lot of addicts that I've met are the most open-minded people. So I've survived a lot. And I just want to give hope to people that there is hope. I mean, the fact that I can feel the coldness of the water, I can feel the cold wind, because before I couldn't feel anything because I didn't want to feel anything. And so now I take one day at a time. I can cry better. I can, I've been rewired and healed a lot in my brain. I still have a ways to go, but I've gotten a lot better. I don't have as much of a temper. I have a lot more patience, and I don't react as severely as I used to. And I've been open, about my addiction and my struggles with, biological and adopted family. And it's amazing what the truth does. Truth will come out. And for my adopted parents, that's not always good, because sadly, lying has become the new norm in that family, and then the truth comes out, and then they have to explain to family why they weren't honest to begin with. And any addict should know, or any person who's been lied to, the power of truth and honesty is so much better than lying. And I've learned in addiction to find my voice again. Because for a long time, I just didn't have a care in the world, and I was like, it was bad. Really, really bad. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't, because I was just out there in left field. And so, and I was hospitalized several times for taking too many pills. So it was a constant, like, jails, institutions, and death. They're not kidding. And those people who want you to succeed and accept the good, the bad, the days you're like, I'm not doing anything. You don't have to do anything. Don't do it. Go at your pace. Show compassion to yourself and others, but know your limits. And I would highly recommend EMDR for any of those who have been diagnosed with PTSD. It's very good. I actually enjoy going to therapy. I know, miracle. It's coming from someone who didn't like therapy to begin with. I actually like going to therapy. Yeah, let's do EMDR. My therapist had to say, we gotta process things. So know that there is hope. You can heal. You can break family traditions. And self-mutilation can come in all forms. And it's kind of not really talked about. And so that's been the addiction. My sister Vanessa, our sister Ashley is in active addiction. And she's got 2 boys, and guess what? They suffer because active addicts are selfish. We don't care about anybody who we hurt. And sadly, my sister has continued that cycle, as my birth mom has. So we sadly, I like to have hope, but sometimes family members just choose it because it's, common. It's, what everybody else does. Don't be like everyone else. Be the change you want seen. Be honest. Stay humble and compassionate. Have an open mind. Judge no one. Help everyone. And have a sense of humor. Trust me. My aunt, that side of the family, we have a twisted, warped sense of humor. But as an addict, you got to. We've all been through some shit that'll make people's heads spin. And we survived it, so we have to have some sense of humor. People say just roll with it. They're like, don't be like Crystal and roll your car. Again, that's not offensive. I say, I'm like, yeah, don't do what I did. And wear your seatbelt. Just know that you're not alone. I know it sucks. There's the withdrawals, the changing. It's really difficult. It's not easy. It's like, man, I don't like doing this. But I want to create a healthier and brighter future. So, in September, I'll have 2 years. And I'm very happy for that. And also being in recovery has taught me my worth. As an addict, you just don't care. You let people do. I literally let people walk all over because I didn't care. I was too numb. I couldn't feel anything. And being in recovery, I know what I deserve, both in friends and family and in a partner whenever I get one. Is that they have to be okay with that part of me. And how serious I'm about it. So, again, you realize your worth because you didn't know it before. So, hopefully this has helped everyone. Again, this is what recovery looks like. You can see it for your own eyes. This is where I find my sanity. My eyes literally glow when I'm standing in the water. And even my aunt has noticed it. You know what? I'll just do it. Hold on. I'll show you guys because I even see it. My eyes are no longer cloudy. They're no longer lifeless. They're no longer numb. They're like, they have life in them. And I can feel the change. Oh, Jesus. And that's a good thing. So, hold on. Okay. So I'm just gonna, and like I said, it is really cold. But, okay, now I'm standing in. Woo, that's cold. See, you can immediately tell the difference. Because I'm happy. I can feel everything. The water's calming. You know, it's just very soothing. You're like, why are you standing in ice cold water? Because I can feel it. You know, and I embrace it. Like, literally, water is like my soothing element in life. And, you know, it's a beautiful place. So, hopefully, everybody enjoyed my little chat. Richie suggested I go live. Hopefully, everybody's learned and feels empowered and all that fun jazz. So, thanks for having me. Again, I'm a recovering addict. Crystal, love all you guys. Richie, how was that? Was that good? Thank you, Nancy. God bless you. You're very welcome, Donna Fisher. Yeah, every day's a miracle, Richie, and I appreciate that. I'm too strong, I guess. So, hopefully, if you guys have any questions, or let me know. You know, I'm an open book, not really shy. I can be on occasion, especially if I wake up first thing in the morning. But, I just wanted to share my story and hope it's inspired folks. And if you guys want to instant, private message me, you can. Share my story if you'd like. And, I'm an open book. I'm done living in denial and secrecy and lies. I'm over it. I really am over it. So, okay, I think I'm going to sign off here, but let me know how that was. And much love to you all. May the force be with us all.